Hello and welcome to another Streamteam review. This time, we're going to be talking about something fun. We're talking about King Arthur, specifically three films: Quest for Camelot, King Arthur 2004, and Quest for Camelot. And the Merlin miniseries. Very different films. But anyway, allow me to bring on my angry clone. Please welcome Tarek.
Here's to the bard and our calling the plum. Here's to the beast and the rest of you scum. The cage is locked in and the town is aflame, and it's ours for the taking, though you get the fame.
I think that is the worst thing you have ever said about me. Angry clone. Man, fuck you. It's too bad Roe v. Wade was overturned. I would have aborted myself.
This is why I love having you on stream. You're hilarious.
Yeah. So I literally can't be a clone.
You're a clone in spirit.
Not even close, you son of a bitch! Oh, the insults, they just keep coming. If I had a gauntlet, I'd be throwing it down, if not just not smacking you with it.
So here we go with good old men in tights. Tights rules there.
No, it's not even a rule. He's just an idiot.
Yeah, true. Alrighty. So let's bring on the
Oh, come on.
Oh.
I just noticed the name change, you miserable bastard.
I know.
Fucking hate you.
No, you don't.
Yes.
It's a pity that city wasn't you, Bratlord.
Indeed. This is my baritone Professor Dunn clone.
Oh, now you're really in trouble now.
So hold the fuck on. Instead of doing something thematically relevant, like say the Knight of the Round Table names, you go with something like this. God.
I mean, yeah, this is actionable, Blightlord. This is actionable.
This is just missed opportunity, man. God damn, you went for a shitty joke that doesn't even make sense.
Die screaming, Blightlord.
There.
And that's the nicest thing I can think of to say.
Slightly better. Also, I just noticed Aspiring called me slow. No, Aspiring, I didn't notice because I was looking at something more important.
What? Who the blazes is Dagarion? Is that like Dagwood or something?
It's a mixture of Dagonet and Balerion.
Who the hell is Dagonet? You'll pardon my language.
He is King Arthur's jester.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have a real shitty jester then. Balerion, I mean this I do not mean to offend. Oh, fuck it. Yes, I do. You're not funny, man. You're not funny. We need a better jester.
Well, tastes do differ. Lots of people do think I'm funny, actually.
Yeah.
Funny looking, maybe.
You definitely have a lot of good moments, Valerian. Don't worry.
Oh, that was a
I
dad
think you're
joke, and I
funny.
just realized that. Fuck!
Tarek's becoming a dad. And in
Well,
spirit.
hold on. Bring her on. Let's prove this wrong. So, sweetie,
Yeah.
am I becoming a dad?
No.
Okay.
But peak dad energy.
Thank Christ.
Were you worried I told Dunn and not you?
At that point, what do I do? Just charge with a horse and go kill him? Like, what is the appropriate posture?
Also, Dunn, if anyone's a cheap watch
Wait. Dunn is your gay best friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Dunn, if anyone's a cheap botched clone, it's you, and you wish you were a clone of Tarek, so... There we go.
Oh, undoubtedly. He's a
Do we want to know
Chad.
what he is?
There we go.
Do we want to know what he is a clone of?
Probably not. It's probably something awful. Something gross and slimy.
I guess it's something disgusting right about now, but I don't think we'll go there.
Oh.
Lord.
Anyway,
Alrighty. Let's get. We have one last guest in the back room. We've been keeping him waiting for a little bit. Let me see. I have a purge. Ah, here we go.
All right.
well, Codec's the only one that doesn't have a... Oh, there we go, okay.
But
I don't want to know what the implication of these names mean, alright? This is a
It's
weird...
done trying to be funny.
God.
He's truly not.
I just thought it was thematically Thank you for the idea, Tarek. I just had to do the.
I thought it was
angry-
thematically appropriate after someone told me it was.
Precisely.
Ugh.
Well, at least he thought something eventually.
Yeah, at least with nudging, he thought something vaguely appropriate to the stream. question mark.
Nudging, I
Help.
bludgeoned him with a brick.
Oh yeah, I was being polite for once in my life.
You've got to
So-
move the brain cells somehow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
All right,
no
this has
problem.
become the shit on done hour. Excellent.
Well,
and I will give Valerian credit. That was funny. Tarek, apologize. He does say funnies.
No. Never apologize. Never give an inch.
So,
Indeed.
Tarek because of dad, well, that raised Bard starts.
No, that just means another company or entity has formed.
This is deep lore.
no,
Indeed.
eventually we're going to get on topic.
Yes.
Greetings.
Okay.
Eventually, yeah.
Valerian,
should get on that now.
Valerian, how many shows of these have you done? Like several at this point, right?
One or
Yes.
Yeah. So you know it takes half an hour before we get to the point.
Just trying to. Yes, I'm trying to keep it within half an hour, as opposed to waiting
Fair
2
enough.
hours.
Yeah,
Will
fair enough.
probably never change us, though.
No.
Well, no, but at least we can help a little bit, help things on a little bit.
And we appreciate it.
Oh, don't mention it.
Okay, are we actually doing a fucking essay where we compare this shit?
Yep. Let's
Oh,
get started.
great. Let me put my fucking school head on. Yay.
Well, Barilla in 1995 was pretty kind of rubbish.
A
was-
little bit, yeah.
It was kind of shit, but it was kind of fun. I
Yeah,
don't know.
In the
Sam
so bad
Neill's
good
fun.
territory.
It was a
Yeah.
bit random, and like, there was some really I am still not over that scene where he meets fucking Nimue. That was the stupidest fucking scene I have ever seen in my life.
yeah. Dating
like-
don't work like that, especially
like-
on the Middle Ages.
Well, it's not just dating. It's that they just sort of they met and then spoke like weird aliens to each other.
And it
she
didn't.
asked to kiss him, having never met him. It was the whole fucking that was it, wasn't it? It was
Yep.
what did he do?
Rescued her from
he
quicksand or
asked-
something?
She asked for directions, and his reward was a kiss.
Oh yeah, it was stupid. That's what it was, and it was not only stupid, but the dialogue was the weirdest fucking twisty, stupid, non-edited dialogue you've ever heard. Plus, the actors could not actually read it for toffee, and it was like,
There's also the major problem that they were dubbing over the young actress's voice with the older actress's voice.
Is that the
Yeah,
one who sounded like she needs to
but-
stop smoking?
no.
No,
it
that
was-
would be
no.
Queen Map. We should probably give some setup.
No, but the thing is, right? It was
Yeah.
the kid playing Merlin, young Merlin's like lines that were the cringiest and weirdest. That was the weird
Ooh.
part. It wasn't the dubbed over actress. It was him. I was very glad when he actually grew up.
He grew up in
Okay.
Sam
Yeah.
Neill.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Sam Neill knows how to talk properly.
And the way they rushed over the whole King Arthur story, like they're kind of like, okay,
Or
it's like 20 years and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah.
it did not have any pacing though, because it like starts out with fucking, and this is how Merlin was born, and then we spend fucking years in Merlin getting older and grow his childhood and his teenage years, and then it's like Merlin doing bits and bobs, then finally he meets Uther, and then we lead up to Arthur being conceived. It's like, Jesus Christ, can we get to the fucking point?
And then when Arthur is born, it goes.
Yeah, it's like okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's about Merlin mainly, but still, come on.
Yeah, but most things are about Merlin. Say the BBC show Merlin, which, by the way, has very similar lettering to that. That's a bit
Yeah,
weird. Anyway,
kinda.
kind of. I mean, I guess
Yeah.
it's kind of generic medieval looking script, but that weirded me out for a second. But that show is literally about Merlin and the main characters of the Arthur myth.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Also, Helen Bonham Carter was underused. She was fucking awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Mordred was the best part of that movie. Like he
I
just
agree.
he just comes in swinging his cock around, and then he fucking ruins everything, and he does not give a fuck.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's
very
a-
true.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
it didn't make sense that he managed to do it so quickly, but it was just like, okay, things are shit's happening, yay!
Yep.
He was the best character in that movie.
I thought Rita
Yeah.
Repulsa was.
I think, to be fair, I think Helena Bonham Carter is I'm really pissed off about that. That's like Morgana or Morgan the Fay, whatever. That character is like made for Helena Bonham Carter, right?
Mhm.
I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, yes! And then you barely see her do anything. She doesn't have the traditional character of Morgana, and it bothered me. Like, it really bothered me because she could play it an awesome Morgana. I mean, she probably still could. Let's hope for an adaptation where
I doubt
where
we'll
she plays
get-
that character. I know.
Especially
Well, she
after
was
Legend
Morgana.
of
She
the
was in
Sword
Harry
was
Potter.
bad.
I know. Oh, to be fair, like, yeah, Bellatrix Lestrange has got a lot of elements of that kind of archetype, but I wish we'd seen her actually play the character more, because
Indeed.
it really bothered me.
Yeah. she's a great actress, and I really love a lot of Helena Bonham Carter's work. Even when she's in bad movies, she's usually one of the better parts of that bad movie, like Alice in Wonderland by Tim Burton.
You know, I'm kind of surprised we never got like a Asylum film when Maleficent came out for something like Morgan Le Fay, considering the fact that the character of Maleficent is pretty close to the archetype.
Yeah, well, especially where in the origin story, it's because like
Yeah.
Sleeping Beauties originally was that a Hans Christian Andersen?
No, I don't think it was. I think that was
That's
Brothers
Brothers Grimm.
Grimm, but probably older.
Either way, it's from the continent.
I think it's from.
So
I
it's
think
like.
Pardon me,
Sorry,
I think it's in. What's that French? What's that French chap's name? Perion, I think.
Oh yeah. So from the continent.
You're
And, like-
actually right. You're right. It is Charles Perrault or Pelleroux or whatever.
Okay. There's always one of the three, but
One of those people, yeah.
either way, it's a version of the archetype from the continent as opposed to Morgan Le Fay being the British version, essentially. So, bye Codex. Have fun getting tea.
What? Did he die already?
He just needs to.
Oh no,
get tea.
he just told us that he was getting tea. I was like, that sounds like a thing I would be doing if I wasn't on the cider.
Fair enough.
But I got into this movie late, like when we started it, and I had a hell of a time following it. Like, holy
Oh, yeah.
shit.
I think to be fair, I think you probably weren't helped by the fact that you didn't see. I mean, you know, the Merlin as teenager bits were cringe and stupid, but they were funny in how cringe and stupid they were, and at very least you kind of got an idea for how. I mean, the pacing was stupid, but for the most part, it was the slow for most of it. So you probably would have might have helped a little bit, but even then, I had trouble following it. It was a bit bizarre.
And then you have like the giant sleeping, what is it, like a troll or a giant or something, where they shove fucking the sword in the stone into.
Oh god, I forgot about that.
Oh, that thing. God help us.
The rock biter, that's what I'm thinking of.
I forgot a lot about this.
Oh, the really bad CGI, or was it a really bad costume? I can't remember which.
Do you have screenshots at all
CGI.
done?
Yeah, CGI.
Yeah, it was pretty shit CGI.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you know, 1995 TV show miniseries.
It never
Not
stood
sure
a
what
chance.
yeah, like I'm not sure what we'd expect from it, but yeah.
Well, maybe not try to do something that you're not very good at doing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's plenty of things made in that era where you just sort of don't show the thing, or you tell the story smaller scale, so you can sort of imply a thing, but like not have to show it. You know, I don't know.
I mean, that's something they added. That's not something they had to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a bit random. There's a lot of fucking shit in this movie. I mean, like,
Yes, kind of.
yeah, this is a fucking weird show. Yeah. I remember flashbacks here, guys.
Yeah.
It was a very weird show.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. A lot of 90s the Odyssey miniseries had similar problems to this.
Oh, and let's
This
not
is what I recall.
let
But,
us not brush over.
Yeah.
Let's not brush over Miranda Richardson's very bad cough.
Yeah. Okay. So let me give some context for what we're talking about. Essentially, what this movie is about is Merlin. This is his story from behind the scenes of the life of King Arthur, and it starts out with everybody has forsaken the old gods and the old ways. So Queen Mab, a fabricated character by all accounts,
I mean,
decides to make a child that will bring
She-
people back to the old ways.
can I make a slight? It's not that she's a fabricated character in general. She is like a character from like old fairy mythology. You know, there's like,
Okay.
you know, Mab is traditionally the name of a fairy, like the queen of the fairy queens. You know.
Yeah, it's in Shakespeare, but she wandered from a different universe into the Arthurian universe, basically.
Yeah, it's a little bit sci-fi.
Same for the Power Rangers universe.
Yeah.
She
Well,
does
am I
look
wrong?
very
She looks like a Power
repulsive.
Rangers villain.
She
No,
does look like
yeah.
Repulsa or
Yeah.
the villainess from
Divatox?
Power Rangers Dino Thunder.
Or
Yeah,
alternatively, as I believe I said in our watch through, she looks like she just walked out of a goth club. Like,
That too.
good God,
Are we talking about the lady with the voice problem?
with the bad
Yeah.
cough, yes.
The lady who basically sounds like a female version of what's that chap's name? Christian Bale, the Batman chap.
Christian Bale.
Oh, Christian
yeah.
Bale. Oh no.
Oh my.
She does sound like she has throat cancer, like Christian Bale did in that movie.
I actually think that's very hard on Christian Bale. He can't get that deep.
Okay, score shot then.
Yeah.
He's actually sounds moderately human. She sounds like she has a serious disease.
Yeah. And she creates Merlin, and I don't know whether or not it's a virgin birth or not. I just know that it's some kind of birth, and he's raised by this nice old lady, and then he calls his auntie. Then he meets Nimue, who in this one is just the daughter of a local lord, who is okay with peasant boys asking for a kiss if he gives her directions.
She's very enlightened then.
And later on, roughly 5 minutes later, he saves her from being dragged into a sinkhole using his magic, and she gives him a kiss. Another kiss is for saving her. It's very odd. And then he gets kidnapped by Martin Short. I kid you not, Martin Short plays an evil elf in this movie. It's really weird.
I forgot about him.
Yeah, his
I
name
liked
is
him.
Frick. I love Martin Short in this movie. He's funny. He's one of the funnier parts of this movie.
He's a
Oh, is he
bizarre
that
character.
guy?
But he's
That like
fun.
really weird guy in the weird costume. That guy
Yeah.
with like weird makeup or something. That guy. Okay, I forgot all about him.
Yeah.
So basically, Replica becomes his ancestor, essentially.
I forgot half.
No. No,
The series.
Replica could not have possibly come from a line of descent where there was actually like funniness.
He can try.
Like that, you can't try to do anything. You can't try to come from a line of descent. You are or you aren't. I can't try to be the heir to the throne of England. I am what I am.
You can't use the time machine and go back before you were born and arrange things so you're born.
You really could, but I feel like that's a lot of work.
Oh,
Good
no one
point,
has
yeah,
any
fair
ambition
point.
anymore.
So what's up with everybody's I'm an asshole? That's the answer.
Yes.
Not to put too fine a point on it.
It's yeah. It's called Dunn's got a little bit of a mental disease at the moment.
And he's having he's getting a little drunk on power too.
He's having a phase.
A tad. A bit.
What would be Replica's spirit animal? I don't know. that
Oh,
talks
God.
a lot of nonsense.
A frog?
A tapir.
No,
Jesus
no,
Christ.
all of these are mean on the poor animals. Stop it.
This is fucking cringe. Why are we even talking about this?
How
I don't
about we
know.
move on from the cringe boy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fair
move
enough.
on to something else that's cringy.
Yeah. Yay,
Yeah.
back to Miranda Richardson's cough.
Yeah, she sounds like she has severe crippling throat cancer. Dude, I'm amazed that I think that a lot of her voice has got to be computer assisted. I don't know how you get your voice that raspy without doing severe damage to it.
Well, considering I've seen her in plenty of other roles. I have never seen her. I mean, I've seen her like put on an element of a voice. Like her Rita Skeeter voice is different from her Queen Elizabeth I voice. But like she's quite a pardon me, Miranda. She's quite a bit older when she plays Rita Skeeter. And also like it is more that she's using like a high pitched I'm a little spoilt girly voice when she's playing Queen Liz versus when she's playing Rhea Skeeter. She's like, I don't know, she's not using that voice. She's got a different thing going on. But like I have never ever seen her distort her voice in another role. So like it's not like she's one of those people who can just bend her voice to insane degrees as far as I know. So I have no idea how she did it.
It's probably a lot. Yeah, that's why I say there's a good deal of voice distortion going on there.
I don't really want to know. It's a bit fucking scary, to be honest.
Yeah.
I am Queen Map.
No, that's a Gollum impression.
Yeah.
But you can try again if you want to.
I am Map.
No, I didn't
Why?
actually
I
mean
can't
try
hear you.
again. Please stop.
You need to sound a little more like Donald Duck. Oh, yeah, it's cute.
Okay, this is
Okay,
what
you
is
sound like a
happening.
spastic duck.
Let's not. Yeah, can
Well,
we not?
That's funny. Okay.
Oh yeah, very funny done. Jesus Christ.
So
Well, by Dunn standards, it is kind of funny.
At least he amused himself. Anyway,
we also have. So then we have Merlin learning magic from creepy Martin, both creepy and kind of endearing Martin Short as this guy.
Oh,
is-
as fucking Puck.
Yeah, he is very,
Yeah.
very puckish, actually. There's actually a lot of similarities.
can we talk about the fact that he wears a hood with all holes for his ears?
Yeah, that part's really, really funny.
Mm.
Like, okay.
I
It's
quite,
bizarre.
it is a little bit bizarre. Yeah,
Little bit.
yeah.
hmm
Mm.
And then Mab decides to kill or at least let die Merlin's foster mom. And because of this, he swears that he will never use his powers except to hurt Queen Mab. So,
Which is that's quite like that's not the typical hero arc.
No, it's not. And after that, we have a long time skip, and we meet Vortigern, somebody who we actually rarely see in the Arthur myth. Generally, this is pre-Arthur stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's the kind of like the preface to it, and also it's connected to the whole war between the Saxons and the British and all that. So, which a lot of Arthurian stuff just completely ignores.
Yeah. Yeah, with Vortigern is told to capture Merlin utilizing a by a soothsayer, and in the end he does, but Merlin uses his seeing power to allow his captor to find out you're building your castle on frickin' you're building your castle on a water stream, destroying the foundations, dude. But
Huh.
then there's a prophecy about the red dragon killing the white dragon as the they don't actually do it. They do a kind of a cheap approximation, which is probably a good thing considering we see a dragon later and it looks like crap.
Yeah, the red dragon and white dragon thing goes all the way back at least to the 9th century. But then back in those years, it was Ambrosius Aurelius, not Merlin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then we are reunited with Nimue, and it's cute. And the girl doesn't have to have her voice dubbed over because Isabella Rocinti has a very, very thick Italian accent. And they wanted to keep it somewhat consistent, I suppose. That's my assumption, at least, for why they dubbed the voice, because there's a lot of weird technical stuff in this film. It's really amusing.
Yeah. I think I have memories. To be fair, it was a good few weeks ago. This was, quite a while ago now. But I have memories of the sound design just in general being a bit trippy.
Yeah, it's very
I really didn't know
odd.
what to do with sound. It was like,
Yeah, it's really odd.
I just don't remember anything about this miniseries. Like, I'm thinking about it and I'm going, what do I remember happening? And I'm like, not much. Just basically a Cliff Notes version of the Arthurian legend.
Pretty much.
It's 3 hours long.
You're not alone. You're not alone.
Yeah, but in that 3 hours, nothing... It felt more like a stage production than an actual film or a miniseries.
I remember a weird fucking sex scene where Uther conceives Arthur in a really fucking... That happened.
Oh yeah, Uther Pendragon looks so really bad in this movie. Worse than he does, except maybe Excalibur.
I've said this before, but in Excalibur, I almost have to give credit for it because it's a kind of rape that's only possible in a fantasy setting. Like, he doesn't just say he's the Duke. He takes on the literal form. I don't think I've ever heard of something like that in any other fantasy series, no matter how dark.
Yeah. What's fun? I think the funniest thing about it is that this is from the original.
The original.
Yep.
Well, it goes all the way back at least to the 12th century.
Yeah. Yeah, this has been a part of the theory of myth for a long time. Go for it. No,
I was just going to say, either way, like, I don't know if the original legend said he literally became a doppelganger, but that's what I'm referring to. Like, just the fact he turned himself into a fucking doppelganger.
Yeah. It is very, 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 very strange.
Because there are some implications there.
Yep.
We were speculating what kind of a rape does this count as? How would you deal with this legally in the legal system?
I'm really quite glad we don't have to be honest.
Yeah,
but-
Yeah, I was gonna
exactly.
say.
That's what I'm saying. Like something like this is just holy shit. It's kind of disturbing to think about.
Yeah,
Just a
kind of.
bit.
Just
Yeah.
a little, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
just wait till we get to Excalibur.
Oh god.
John
I
Borman
still
will
recall
make his
liking that
return.
movie.
I like to.
I think that it'll be perfectly fine.
It'll
have
be
a
like the
bad
2004 art movie.
Yeah. I personally have a very, very bad taste in my mouth from the John Borman Lord of the Rings script,
Oh God, something.
since that
is
that
that the next movie?
Oh,
No.
we did that already. No, luckily it was never made a movie.
No,
Well,
the
unluckily.
Excalibur.
Oh, sorry.
I think Excalibur is going to be another one. Next week is First Night, which is basically
Oh,
it's King Arthur, but it's a boy meets girl romance with Arthur and Guinevere, with the Lancelot and Guinevere.
Joy.
I love it.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gonna be slightly cringe, but I'm gonna love it.
you know, I just discovered this was a thing. There's a movie called Night Riders by George A. Romero, and it's about this motorcycle group who's doing the Arthur thing, but it looks like they're dressed up in like medieval armor and everything, and on motorcycles and shit. It's an Arthurian motorcycle gang from the looks of it.
Pardon me, Dad.
Yeah.
I mean, pardon me, Don. Bots in the chat.
Oh. You are blocked. Get out. Get out. Die.
I think they still need to be deleted.
Oh, it's
I think
just-
Raptor hit him, but yeah,
Okay.
I don't know whether that's permanent. I was
What
about
is
to do it
that, just
myself, and then
Scam or what?
This has
I-
become quite common lately in all the live streams.
Huh, must
Who
be
is this?
Spam.
yeah, they pop up from time to time. I've never had to deal with them, but
Huh.
Yeah. anywho,
Alrighty. Next thing we get to talk about is the weirdness that happens with the dragon. The
Yeah,
dragon
democracy,
kills
but
Nimue, and that becomes Merlin's primary motivation, allowing him to use his magic for the first time and take on a more Arthur-esque, a more Merlin role, I suppose you could put it.
Yeah.
And because of this, he goes to King Uther, the son of the guy that Vortigern killed, and gets Uther to him. And weirdly enough, Merlin gets Excalibur from the Lady in the Lake. But the strange thing about this is he uses the sword to kill Vortigern in revenge for Nimue, who is now very badly burned. She's been offered to the Great Dragon, which is, weirdly enough, had 6 legs and looked awful. It was strange. It's very, very strange.
Mm. What wasn't strange about this film?
good question.
Yes.
A lot of things.
Sam Neill existing, he was actually quite normal. His character and role in the world he was in were a little bit mental, but he I don't know. He was fairly normal.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Yeah. But Uther is influenced by Mab to lust after one of his nobles after Vortigern is defeated. It's actually a decent like explanation for why he decides to quickly and totally destroy the piece that he just worked so hard to get. But it really makes Uther. I think this is probably the worst, most crazy Uther Pendragon I've ever seen in a film.
I don't know. I still remember like the whole Blood Brothers thing in Excalibur.
Yeah,
But
I was going to say that.
But from what I understand, there is no version of Uther that has ever objectively looked good. Like they
Yeah.
always portray him as either a sleazebag or a fucking maniac.
Or a
And I think you
tyrant in Merlin in the
in the
TV show.
in the BBC show, he is a tyrant and he is kind of a maniac. But at the very least, because they have so much time to explore him, you do get to see layers of him. It is interesting to see his how he feels about Arthur and his like conflicts about that. And sometimes he's a good dad.
Yeah, but
You know, and-
most of the time I see him like even in Merlin, he's a very selfish man. He's a very
Oh yeah.
he's a tyrant. That's the best way to describe it. The man is just straight up a tyrant.
Yeah,
But
and
he
that's in
is.
the
But for like, you get to see shades of him wanting to be a good dad, even if he isn't one. And
yeah.
wanting to be a good king, even if he isn't one. There's layers to it. He kind of descends into just being worse and worse as time goes on to some degree, but like
Right.
you get to see that he's a human being at least, and you get to see some of the qualities that he has that Arthur also has. But the thing is that Arthur doesn't have like these great deep flaws that mean that those basically don't shine or don't like
Yeah, and the
or
Sword and the
end up
Stone.
exhibiting negatively.
Yeah, in the Sword and the Stone book, he's also a tyrant, but he's kind of a deadbeat dad. He just dumps. Well, to be fair, he died or something, but still.
No, that's you didn't see this, but in the Sword of the Stone movie, they said Uther was a good king. I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm talking about the book. BOOK.
I don't know what you're talking about, but the movie said differently, Balerion.
Well, I never said the movie. I said the book.
True. Yeah.
He's
Well,
being a
he's-
silly little pain in
he's
the butt,
also-
Valerian. Don't listen to him.
Also, it's a double
Mhm.
joke because there's a book in the film that starts the film.
Yeah,
It
it's
says Uther
weird.
was a good king. It's strange.
Yeah, that's a kind of a cool effect.
Yeah.
I like it when they do. I kind of like it when they do that.
I love the old Disney thing of the book. The book opens and so the
Yeah.
story begins thing.
Like in the Winnie the Pooh films too.
It's like Sleeping Beauty does it too, and I think doesn't Beauty and the Beast.
I think Jungle Book does as
yeah.
well.
It does, yeah.
Yeah, it's cute. I love it.
Indeed. I miss it. But
I miss cute films too.
yeah, I do. Do too. I miss good films, period. I've only seen,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Well,
After that
the
depressing
Merlin-
note, let's move on.
Yeah, we quickly then kind of hop, skip, and jump over the rest of the Arthur myth, starting with the Sword and the Stone, quickly getting to the unification of England, then jumping right to the quest for something right to Morgana Le Fay, a incest, and Morgana Le Fay is just kind of just a person in this. She's not a magic user. She's actually more of a tool for the actual Morgan Le Fay type, which is Queen Mab, as opposed to being a kind of a bad guy in her own right. She's more of an unwitting dupe in this film, which I think is kind of a waste.
Yeah, and like 2 minutes later, Mordred comes to King Arthur's court and says, I'm your son, and by the way you rule this country stinks.
And
Yeah,
every
being-
single one of the Knights of the Round Table goes, "Oh yeah, he's got a point." I'm like, well, fuck Arthur. Maybe you were running a bad, shitty kingdom then.
Maybe Arthur. Maybe the whole reason Camelot falls is not because of Mordred, but just because the end all be all about Arthur is he's just a shitty king. I mean, for God's sake, in one of them, he wanted to just go back to being a fucking goose.
That is accurate, yeah.
Yeah.
And he killed a bunch of kids.
So did Uther, like father, like son.
He's kind of a weakling too.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, Excalibur kind of has the only kind of bad A King Arthur that I've seen.
Is that because Excalibur is the only one that actually shows him... Unironically, the only one that actually shows him acting like a fucking political figure, like an actual king? Because think about all the interpretations of the Arthurian legend you have seen. How many of them do you actually see, like the stock Arthur acting like the stock European king? You know, like a political leader.
You know, I'm trying to remember the later BBC Merlin.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too,
when he's king, and I'm not sure. You do see you see him in the same roles that you see Uther in, but obviously being a little bit better at it. But I think maybe because I'm just trying. I don't know how much of that you see, but you do see it.
You do see it, but I'm thinking like, okay, in Quest for Camelot, you don't see him at all. In the 2004 King Arthur movie, you see him. He's not exactly the traditional European king. He's more like a warrior king.
Yeah.
In this, because it's about Merlin, as far as I recall, you don't really see him all that much, like doing anything really political.
I think to be fair as a caveat, a lot of the time, particularly when you have a movie or at least a short show, and particularly one obviously focused on a different character, but like when you have a short amount of time, the areas of the story you're going to be covering, even if Arthur is in a kingly role where he is ruling and does have the round table and has the whole thing, your main beats of the story are going to be the conflict level beats, which are going to be fighting, which are going to be traveling out. But
I get that, but the more I think about it, the more I'm kind of going, well, what kind of king is Arthur? It feels like we've rarely, if ever, got to actually see that. Hell, in Green Knight, the 2021 version, he's only in the movie for maybe about 2 minutes. I get it's Gawain's story, but all you just see him doing is celebrating Christmas with the Knights of the Round Table, and I'm kind of just coming to the conclusion that we really have no idea what kind of king Arthur was in any of these interpretations. And this may be why Camelot is always doomed to fall.
Yeah.
To be fair, I think the implication is always supposed to be, because it's like mythologized, you know, like mythology is like to like simplify a concept that can be shown in real time into a symbol, and the symbol is Arthur will bring about Albion. Arthur will bring about the better world. Arthur brings about the Golden Age, and the fact that Arthur dies means the Golden Age never comes. By that implication, you can kind of be led to assume that he's a decent king. You know, it's just that, yeah.
In the literature, it's there's like a million sub kings, and the knights wander about and all sorts of and deal with all these like sub kings who don't seem to concern themselves much with what King Arthur wants at all. Some of them are actively hostile to him, as I'm remembering it. So he's kind of weak in that, and so he becomes kind of weak at least in the prose romances, like the 13th century onwards, and the Mallory and all that.
Oh, we have a guy in the back room. Please welcome Sir Ninja Meaties.
Have you seen the questing beast?
Unfortunately, that one is Sir not appearing in this film.
Okay, yeah. So I was actually listening a bit. So Tarek, there is actually an interpretation of Arthur that focused more on him as a king, and it's actually the original source of King Arthur.
I
by
don't. Good, sorry. Good.
Gregory Gregory of
Geoffrey of
Monmouth, I think. In his
Geoffrey of
What?
Monmouth. Yeah.
Geoffrey of Monmouth. Geoffrey of
Geoffrey of
Monmouth.
yeah,
Close.
in his book, the book of the history of the kings of Britain, which is should be taken with a huge grain of salt. He actually does explain who King Arthur was, like what is like he was, how he operated as king. He was pretty much a conqueror. In his take, where like he conquered all the way to Rome, and he had a like if that is like the original source of art. It's like completely different than later interpretations. It's actually because it's also a history document, because it chronicles the kings of Britain before the Saxons invade, like Anglo-Saxons.
To be fair,
essentially,
that probably has. I mean, I haven't read it, but that probably has a similar bias to what I was saying about stories, which is that the things that are worth chronicling are the active things that you do that cause conflict, that make substantial changes. Your day-to-day ruling, when your peasant comes to you and goes, "Hey, this shitty thing happened and my family's going to die. What do you do?" Right? And all of like that ruling stuff, that's so day-to-day that they don't bother putting it down. So but like that's why you have the,
and it's
the
also during a period.
Good king.
Wait, Ninja, let Becca finish, then you can do it.
I was just going to say, and that's why it's summed down to he's this mythologically, king that was destined to create XYZ and change the world. It's said like that because all of the thousands of little things that makes a good king in his day-to-day ruling come down to like create a picture, and that's that. They're just, the mythology is like that picture just sort of like amped up.
Yeah, earliest king. Sorry, I'm sorry. Ninja's next, and then I'll come after him.
Okay. Essentially, like a lot of early Arthur stuff, like they wouldn't have more day-to-day rulings because it was during a period where
it was the day-to-day
in European history where they don't write down laws.
Well, yeah, but yeah, exactly. Like it's a funny part of history, and that's also why it's so easy to mythologize. So why you can just fill it up with
the earliest
with a myth.
part.
Sorry.
I mean, the earliest versions of the Arthurian legend, he's fighting against the Saxons. And back in those days, the kings were essentially not light years from being gang leaders. Essentially. And then in Geoffrey of Monmouth, you get this whole thing about him. In Geoffrey of Monmouth, you get this whole thing about he conquers all of Europe and all that. To be honest, the Geoffrey of Monmouth version is kind of boring because it's all this. Then he conquered this, and then he conquered that, and then he conquered the other thing.
You've also got the thing. Oh, sorry.
No, just that most of what we think of comes from the prose romances later, which is based on Chrétien de Troyes. So it's from a slightly different. It focuses on the knights rather than Arthur. Most of it. Carry on.
I was just going to have the thing as well, like remembering that, Arthur was primarily a Briton, not a Saxon, and they come from a culture where writing things down makes them essentially less holy. Like you make them physical reality. That was like the whole Druid thing. That's why they never wrote anything down, and we don't know anything about them. By writing shit down, you make things give them less authority because they now exist in the world. So
kind of
everything
ironic.
everything was spoken word. It was really interesting, actually. I was looking at it in relation to Roman religion, which was the opposite. So they had a lot of clashes there.
Yeah. Although by the
yeah.
time of Arthur, they've been Christianized.
Yeah, I guess, but that being an old tradition and an old feeling of, like, you know, writing things down is like a way of, you know, there's a reason why it took a while to pick up. You know, maybe we should write down our laws. You know, and being Britain, which wasn't quite as advanced as the rest of Europe at that time, you know. But yeah, Roman religion, as a little side note, was if you writing things down, particularly writing into stone and into metal. They used to write into metal as little notes to the gods. That was making a message concrete, and that was more like that was how you communicated with your deities and stuff. So they had like the literal opposite, which is why they didn't get on very well. Well, one of the reasons. They just had a completely opposite sense of religion.
Oh yeah, this is way before most of this stuff is way before the Danelaw.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I mean, some of it's written down. Most of it's written down after the Danelaw, though.
So we were like, maybe we should be more civilized than these Viking folks.
I mean, it's true that sworn testimony into the Middle Ages was mostly oral sworn testimony. So that part is that part's definitely true. But that's the whole rabbit hole. Not to mention I don't know much about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. A raptor. Raptor. This is way before even the Vikings started raiding. This was before even the Saxons. Like, we're talking about Britain. Britain before and around when Rome came over.
Well, the Arthur bit is like 5th, 6th centuries.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second, but let's kind of finish up this one where it's kind of interesting how Arthur is basically just a side character in his own story, and Merlin is the main character going through an arc.
Well, I mean, it's not really Arthur's story. It's called Merlin, for God's sake.
Yeah.
But having said that, you know, I would imagine that Arthur would be a moderately major character in the story of Merlin. It's not like that Arthur's existence is kind of like a big part of Merlin's story.
Mm-hmm. It's basically he's only in the last half of the miniseries.
So does this miniseries cover how Merlin died?
Merlin doesn't die.
Oh god, no.
Die, yeah.
This is where it gets really stupid.
Yeah.
Forgot about that.
So okay, so Mab is behind everything, including the infidelity of Guinevere and Lancelot, where she basically influences them to have the affair.
Wait. Nab who?
Mab. Queen Mab.
Mab.
She just waltzes in
Just a
from
person
different
named
position.
Mab.
What?
Crazy goth fairy, basically.
Talks like this.
Okay. I am totally lost now. Oh wait, so
She's basically
the main villain is a goth fairy.
Oh yeah, we're not even joking. So Mab, as we talked about earlier in the stream, but Mab was a name for a old fairy queen in some old folklore, you know, in the British Isles. So it's not completely made
so
up.
the fairy queen.
But yeah, fairy queen looks like she just walked straight out of a goth club, caked in makeup, with a very bad cough. She has the weird deep Gollum voice for some reason.
She's basically a female version of Christian Bale's Batman.
No, I said no. That's just I can't. No. Christian Bale's Batman sounds like a human.
You must sleep with Lancelot. Gollum.
Pretty much.
Gollum is a better comparison, okay? Because Andy Serkis wasn't trying to sound like a human.
Yeah. I am Map, queen of the old ways. Yeah, I can't even get that. It has to be digital. It has to be
I don't know
digitally.
how. It's just yeah.
That or having
yeah, that-
weird drinks.
Yeah,
just,
like
I don't. Yeah.
like Andy Serkis's Gollum juice that he drank every day to make sure to soothe his voice.
Yeah, I guess she may have had some kind of hidden talent going on there, but she was in so much of this movie. She was in more of this movie than Gollum was in the fucking Two Towers, right? Like,
She's basically the main character.
she's like, yeah, she's the secondary main character virtually. She's in this all the time, and she's always doing that stupid voice.
And making weird faces
Yeah.
and generally being creepy.
Because they gave
And-
her a demonic voice, because she's a bad character.
Just in
Yeah.
case you missed the point.
Yeah, she's not a good
And-
person.
Yeah. So they're outed as being Mab decides to take Mordred away and take him to Arthur. Anna gets pissed because she's taking her spoiled Captain America strong machine gun arrow guy.
He's basically an edgy emo teenager. He's basically Kylo Ren, except maybe with more personality.
That's way too generous.
Yeah, but basically, they abruptly frick the Martin Short elf gremlin guy, has a change of heart, and gets his magic stripped away.
Which I'm surprised they
Because-
can just do.
Apparently, yes. And then Mordred single-handedly just destroys Camelot in a matter of days. There's
More like minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not even joking. It's just he suggests that Arthur not be very good at his job, and all the knights just look at each other and nod and go, "Yeah, he's
Nah, he's
That's
pretty
true.
shit.
yeah." I don't like him either, to be honest. And it's like, what, guys?
Well,
So they get easily persuaded by this
What?
emo teen guy.
They just turn on him like in one conversation, and it's like he didn't even say that much of substance. Like he's like walking in there, he's got personality, he's shaking up the place, and it isn't entertaining to watch. But
Doesn't
my
have that
God,
much
these men have
personality.
no faith,
Yeah.
no loyalty.
Kind of
He just
ironic
walks-
for knights.
I
He
know,
just
right?
waltzes in there and he's like, and they're like, oh, okay. Even though he's like a moron teenager, but apparently because the script said they had to agree with him, they did.
Nah, see, they
Um,
agreed with him because obviously the Arthur rule ain't working.
Indeed.
Yeah, because he just went for several years to hunt down the Holy Grail and failed. And the funniest part of that is, Merlin asked, "Hey, I need some help. I need to find somebody to help." And she said, "You'll find the answer on Joyous Guard." And it turns out to be Lancelot. But in reality, it was supposed to be Galahad. Galahad was a kid. And Merlin didn't realize that it would be the kid that would bring the Holy Grail. It's like Merlin's basically a string of screw-ups in a lot of
I mean,
ways.
That's
to be fair,
That's every
To be fair-
version of Merlin.
to be fair though, it's a screw up, but that is like, it's very, very, very basic fairy logic. You can do much more clever stuff with the concept of fairy logic, but that is technically fairy logic. It's like giving you the truth, but not enough of it for you to actually get it right.
To
Yeah.
do anything
Oh,
with
it
it.
goes all the
You
way
have
back
to
to,
be
You know.
big brain. You have to be ultra smart to figure out fairy logic.
it goes all the
No,
way
you,
back
you
to
have,
Delphi.
you have to be able to see. You have to either be super smart in some cases, but most of the time you just have to be able to see the future.
Yeah,
Uh,
it goes all the way back to Delphi, at least.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
like,
love fairy logic as a cool concept, but this is very like very basic. It's like, oh look, it was the other person there that you were not suspecting, cause child. It's like,
yeah.
It's like Croesus will destroy a great kingdom. Turns out to be his own. That kind of thing.
Is it Chrysis or Paris?
Croesus. Paris is a chap who you may remember abducted Helen. Croesus was the
Yeah.
king of Lydia.
wasn't
okay.
Paris is like the guy who he kept winning battles, but always like lost so many people it wasn't worth it. That was the whole thing, right?
I think that was Troy. Paris was Troy. Okay, I got mixed up.
Because
I guess there was.
Because Paris
So-
like is where you get the concept of Pyrrhic victory from, right?
Oh
No,
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 Pyrrhic
it's
victory is-
Pyrrhus.
That's
It's the
different.
king of Pyrrhus against the
Oh.
Romans, and
Yeah.
yeah, he wins battle, but it was because of the losses, because his kingdom was
Yes.
couldn't sustain the losses it was against the Romans, and the Romans could have
Yeah.
punished him.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So like the concept of Pyrrhic victory is when you win, but it really doesn't fucking make a difference. You fucked up. It doesn't matter that you got the medal.
Doesn't matter when you kill everyone, and it doesn't matter when you kill everyone on both sides. You still have another army in the wings.
yeah. Technically you won, but hey.
I won the race, but all my friends are dead. Yay.
Yeah. After that, we get the usual end of most Arthur movies. They're somewhat traditional. At least
Everyone
Merlin-
fucks up.
Yeah, everyone screws
Yep.
up, and then we have the final battle between Mordred and Arthur. There's a lot of parallels between this and Excalibur. I imagine that this took a lot of cues from Excalibur, since Excalibur was before this.
81 or so, yeah.
Yeah, this predates it.
Wasn't also like Excalibur was like the Arthur movie at the time?
Just about, yeah.
Like
Yeah,
if you're
it
not doing Sword in the Stone, like the Disney version, you're gonna doing Excalibur if you're doing more adult.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. And then Arthur throws the sword, and Merlin's been lured away by Mab making a deal with Nimue that puts her behind a rock. And if he leaves, he will never be able to see her. And yet she lets him go. Doesn't tell him. But he gets there too late and is unable to save Arthur.
Whoops.
And
Boulder.
Arthur dies, handing off the sword to his foster dad, and then Merlin leaves. And this whole time, Merlin has been telling the story to a bunch of people, and he has my favorite line in the movie. Now, if you like my story, you may show your appreciation, preferably with money.
Oh right, this is the bit where
That
he's
was
a beggar.
cute.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I love that line.
It was
It
cute.
is one of my
Okay.
favorite lines.
Okay, that's a moment. It's like our heroes, everyone. Our hero, everyone.
Oh,
That
it's
would
I
have
mean,
been a good
he
place
was-
to end.
It was
He's
like
an old man. Like, at this point, he is a visually old man, not just like, somewhat old. He, like Merlin old, he is elderly.
And it wasn't like in a way of, oh, lol, he homeless now. It was more like, well, Merlin was always like a wanderer. You know, he was never a rich man. He hasn't lost anything. He's just the same as he always was. It's just that he's an old man now. And it was sort of like, he's got a bit of a cheeky attitude because he's an old man and he can get away with it. And it's like, all right,
That would have been a good place to stop.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
And
But they
then
didn't.
yeah, they decided to get weird. So
Oh god, help
Frick,
us.
Frick was participating in the final battle by jumping on people and hitting them with clubs. Yeah, it was quite amusing. But he comes out of the crowd and says, "Hello, Master Merlin. How are you doing?" And it's like,
Yeah, there's just
Oh,
two old men
hello.
greeting for the first time in a
Yeah.
long time. It's like, okay.
yeah, it's kind of cute. But then Sir Rupert, Merlin's magical talking horse, goes.
Oh yeah, the
all-
horse did talk.
Oh, the
Yeah.
horse, the best thing in the entire film.
Yeah.
Yeah, it leads him to Nimue, who has been freed from Mab. Oh yeah, we forgot the defeat of Mab. Basically, they say after a little bit of a wizard's duel, Merlin says, "We're just gonna forget you, Mab. We're not gonna acknowledge you anymore."
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
We just
Yep.
we just forget her. She stops existing. Which
Yep.
I'll defend the concept because the idea of not believing in fairies killing fairies. I mean, like, when I was a little kid, it was like I used to get upset that little girls would say that they didn't believe in fairies because I genuinely believed that every time you said I don't believe in fairies, you killed a fairy.
Uh-oh.
As a kid, I was really into fairies as a kid. That is a thing. That is a concept, a little folklore thing. But like, in the sense of a little dinky little fairy, the fairy of something, you know, like the tooth fairy, or like the fairy of daisies or something, you know, like if you've got like the queen of fairies, Mab, I know it's like we are all going to forget you. You'd have to do some major shit to get that to actually work. If she's as powerful as she is, you know, the daisy fairy ain't got much, you know, defense, but Mab, yeah. So I feel like you need a little bit more than like little.
You would
Peter
have to
Pan.
wipe her from history or something.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
So you mean we have to be Egyptian?
Yeah.
There's so much
And-
sense into this, right?
Yeah. But then we have the moment that kind of jumps the shark a little bit.
I mean, we should probably mention here that hasn't Merlin supposedly lost all his powers at this point when he's begging on this?
Oh yeah.
He's supposedly
Yeah.
lost all his powers. Okay, we need to have that to set this up.
Yeah. Or at least he's saying, "Oh, the magic has died away. There's no more tricks." However, apparently he musters up just enough to do a Fountain of Youth potion on him and Nimue so that they can be happy and young together.
He's not kidding.
this is literally like the. By the way, this might be a shit analogy, but it's like, okay, so there's no money left in the world except for the bit that I saved up for. Right?
You could have done that. You could have just set that up. That he.
Yeah, it wasn't really set up. It was just like, hey, I am a magic person, though. It's like, say, you know, in my stupid shit analogy, it's like, hey, but I was a rich person way back, so I obviously have a little bit.
So you saved up
Okay.
so much money that a little bit of money, but you can use it to like basically buy Amazon.
Eternal life. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I
So-
just
So-
happened to save up that much, you know.
So is the ending of Merlin is the equivalent of a wizard did it?
Yes.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
It's like la 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 la. It's like kind of weird.
Especially without that, there is a nice theme to it that it's like, well, now that the fairy queen is gone, all of the magical forces are descending away from, you know, the world, and it's like, okay, that is a general theme of a lot of Arthur stories.
It's like
You know,
Tolkien.
magic is coming
too.
to an end. Yeah, Tolkien as well. Magic is coming to an end, and then you just end it with he's an old man and he walks away hand in hand with Nimue or something. You know, two old. You know, it'd be really cute. No, we can't do that for some reason. We can't actually commit to the theme of the movie.
We couldn't even just set that up that he made a secret potion or something like that.
Well, there was no way to kind of justify that in the story itself because he thought she was gone forever.
You would need it to be a MacGuffin that he wasn't intending to use, that wasn't remotely, he wouldn't think would ever be a thing. That he that got lost or got forgotten about, and that he later finds or something. That's what you'd have to do with that. But there was no, therefore that would have to be a plot point, like something to do with eternal life. You have to change the entire story of the movie for that to be a thing. You know, and it doesn't really work. So
Yeah, I mean, it would be bittersweet if they meet and they're old, but maybe they could go together and be happy together, even though they're aged. You know?
No, they
But-
can't. They're old. That's yucky.
That's
That's the way fairy tales work.
Old people be yucky, apparently. No,
Fucking A, they kicked out that one Viking from Tiernanog because he got old. His Fey wife said, "Nah, you're too wrinkly now. Get the fuck out of here."
That's not quite.
oh dear.
Yeah.
But like, no, there would be a bittersweetness to it, but it would have been a cute ending. But it's just a weird ending. It's just like, okay.
Yeah. And then I think that's pretty much it for Merlin. Now we get to Quest for Camelot.
Boy, that was a
Camelot,
movie.
a silly place.
I wish this is actually the one I wish I saw. I was just busy with a whole bunch of other stuff.
I actually liked Quest for Camelot.
It
Why?
is very entertaining.
Why?
But it's
entertaining.
weird.
It's fun.
Oh,
I mean, it's
yeah.
weird. I mean, it's got like they're basically like 2.5 Arthurian characters: Arthur, Merlin, and if you count Sir Lionel, although I suspect his name is Arthurian by accident.
No,
Hmm.
there is. I think there was a real Sir Lionel.
There was, but it's a kind of a weird name to choose because he's a fairly minor character.
But then it
Well,
makes
so
sense.
was
if
he
you're
in the
trying-
movie.
Well,
okay.
it makes sense to pick him as a character, to be fair, in terms of we're writing a story about completely unrelated characters set in this world in this time period. So let's pick a knight that nobody knows anything about.
Yeah, I mean it's fine. But it's
Yes,
just, it's
there
odd.
is. I just.
Ninja,
Oops.
pause. Valerian,
Mhm.
you finish.
I was just saying it's fine, but it's odd. But Merlin gets like 1 minute. Arthur gets maybe 5 minutes. Carry
One
on.
thing I will add before Ninja is that even though he's not the character from Arthurian myth, they use the name of Sir Gareth for the blind stable boy who becomes a hermit out in the woods.
Mhm.
So, continue, Ninja.
Okay, I actually just looked it up, and yes, Sir Lionel is a character. He is the younger son of Sir Bors.
Hmm.
The younger son of King Bors.
Hmm.
He's like Sir Lionel is one of Lancelot's brothers, I think. No, pardon me.
No, he's a
Yeah.
double cousin.
Isn't it?
He's
yeah, I
a
think,
cousin of Lancelot.
And isn't like Gareth, Gawain, and Agravain are all brothers, sons of King Lot.
Yep, them and Gaheris, who I wonder if Gaheris was originally the same name as Gareth anyway, because he doesn't do much.
Yeah. This one is interesting because it's basically I think it's actually more in the spirit of Arthurian myth, because most of Arthurian myth is basically just the knights do stuff.
Except they didn't do jack shit in this movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
which is
Yeah.
why I say it's adjacent. And
To
it's
be
got...
honest,
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, go for it.
to be honest, I watched this as a kid, but I forgot it was called Quest for Camelot because I forgot it had anything to do with Arthurian legend, which is
Well,
quite
kind of.
easy.
It kind of doesn't.
It's like, yeah, there are plot elements that are to do with it. It's obviously set in that world. When you watch it, you're like, oh yeah. But like the most of the plot is just girl hangs with blind man in a forest with a two-headed Timon and Pumbaa rip-off dragon.
Yeah, basically.
And rando evil guy turns up and does stuff.
I mean, he's great fun.
He
Oh,
is,
Gary
he
Oldman
is
is.
wonderful.
Oh,
Here's the
absolutely.
thing. Here's the thing. It's a fun movie. It's just not very good.
Oh,
I
no,
enjoyed
no.
it a lot. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it a lot. It's not a very good movie, but it's a lot of fun.
It's a little bit we're a little in Squeaker territory.
Yeah, Legend of
Yeah,
Seeker.
yeah. Legend of the Seeker.
Oh, Seeker. I thought you said Squeaker. I was gonna say.
I
what
did.
the fuck?
It's part of it's the whole thing. We sometimes call it Squeaker.
Yeah, whatever. But there. Again, though, you kind of got to give credit to Gary Oldman, though. Dude went at Lionel with a shield and killed him, not even with like a fucking weapon.
Yeah.
But then the directors had him say Ogre's butt.
Oh yeah, that's hilarious.
What are you, 6?
No, I'm just saying it's like so the
That
director.
is a literal line in the movie. He's not even making that up. That's a line in the movie.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's a line in the movie. I was there.
Mm.
What I'm saying is that you're laughing at it. What are you, 6?
No,
It's
it's
an
just funny. It said,
incomplete
"Oh, a
sentence.
high accomplished actor," and
Ha 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 ha! The man being paid millions of dollars said, "But what are you, a child?"
Come on, Tarek. You've heard Ninja's little squeaky voice. You know he sticks.
Oh, I think I know exactly.
Come on,
God.
I had to. Sorry.
Okay. Oh my
Damn.
goodness. So, okay. Okay. I now. Okay. The people demand it. Therefore, I must do it.
What?
Oh, that just looks so bad. It didn't even turn in the air.
It's incredible. Physics.
that looks like somebody was just dragging and dropping.
Yeah, it does. That's the one. Yeah. Oh
the
man,
one.
that is so bad. And the worst part is it's supposed to be part of this serious prologue, but it just looks so bad. I missed that. Oh man. So, Quest for Camelot. It's basically night. Some people should not be allowed to make movies.
You're not
Granted,
wrong.
This was the 90s. They had no money, and what can you do?
Make a very mediocre movie.
Yeah, kind of like this one where you actually have some. I think there are some funny jokes in this, like where where the dragon, the two-headed dragon, says, "We're the reasons why cousins shouldn't marry."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that is
dear.
questionable.
All right, yeah, there were
Very
there was some
questionable.
cute lines.
And they keep going at each other too.
They have an interesting relationship.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're Siamese twins.
I
Yeah.
wouldn't- Yeah, I don't
But-
envy them.
I feel like Siamese twins don't necessarily always have that going on. That's all I'm saying.
2 heads on the same body, probably not.
Yeah, and the thing about this is they have the only arc in the film, really.
Yeah, now you mention it.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
The Kaylee does not have an arc in this
Except
film.
she wants to become a knight. Apparently, is it like the film where it's
Oh,
the main
come on,
character
come
wants
on.
to become a knight, and then
Yeah.
Come on, she does have an arc. You know what her arc is?
What?
She's like slightly annoyed by a blind guy, and then she fancies him. That's her arc.
Well,
I was gonna say being
And,
Family
and he has an arc too. He's slightly annoyed by her, and then he softens up after a song and decides he fancies her too.
that's how it works, isn't it?
yeah, like, you mean the blind guy? You mean Daredevil?
Yeah. They both have arcs of deciding very quickly to fancy each other after being slightly annoyed by each other.
After being slightly inconvenienced.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's not actually that.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, it's enough that when you're a kid, it's like, this is fun. It's a fun romance. When you're a little girl who doesn't know better, you watch it now, you're like, come on, like, come on. I want conflict. Jesus Christ.
Oh, so
Happy relationships for real life.
So it's the conflict. It's like, so how will she convince him to join her on the quest? Actually, it's incredibly easy, bearing an inconvenience.
Yes. Especially
Yeah,
after
they
he
just
had a
sort of-
whole song.
They just sing a song and then they just sort of wander. for a bit. Like, that's the story. They just wander for a bit.
Every now and then being chased by
Didn't-
bad guys, though.
Like, my only exposure to this movie fully is the Nostalgia Critics review, so that's like my only point of reference. Isn't like they have like one song about a guy who just wants to be alone, and then she asks him again, and he goes, "Okay."
That's what I mean. Like, it's like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
actually not. I've suddenly decided that I'm not annoyed by you.
Well,
That my entire ethos has changed, and now I fancy you too. Cool.
He's
There
got
you
it out
go,
of his
the end.
system. You just need
Yeah.
to get it out of his system by singing that song, that's all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't you get that? Don't you just need to get all of your emotions out of your system and suddenly you become a completely different
Yeah.
person?
Yep.
Yeah. But now that we've
Yeah.
discussed the characters, let's discuss the plot. The plot is basically just King Arthur's sword gets stolen by this rogue knight played by Gary Oldman, who, fun fact, I find this infinitely amusing. Out of all the actors, everybody has a singing double. Except Gary Oldman.
Come on.
Mm.
I mean, I remember talking when we were like watching it and going, well, to be fair, that kind of is a villain thing. It's like villains need to have authentically their voice, you know. You know what I mean? Although, yeah, there was the whole thing with like Jeremy Irons had to get like replaced with like someone mimicking his voice, right? Because
Yeah.
he, you know, hurt his voice. But most of Be Prepared is him, and it sounds
Yeah.
like him, and it's very effective to have the villain voice singing the song, because it just, I don't know what it is about specifically villain voices, but having the same voice do it gives it an extra layer, and I can see why they did it. But yeah, it's kind of funny.
Mm.
Yeah. But he actually has a neat villain army that I've never seen before. He basically creates fantasy robots.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basically.
I forgot about that
using-
until we started watching it again, and I was like, what the fucking hell is happening? Why are there robots in Camelot? Why is there a
Ye-
fucking chicken that turned into a talking axe in Camelot?
Oh, yeah, that was kind of cute but weird.
Yeah, and funnily enough, there's a blink and you miss it Acme Corporation reference.
Yeah, but we're all asking the wrong question. The real question is, why was Sonic the Hedgehog in this?
Yeah, Jaleel White plays the talking axe chicken.
Steve fucking Urkel.
Oh dear.
It makes no sense. Why Urkel?
Who knows where Excalibur is?
Uh,
On my Merlin TV show, the one realistic Arthur movie, I think it was actually 2004, not 2014, unless he's talking about King Arthur and the Legend of the Sword. That one was very Arthur is a superhero, including the whole Thor, included like just making Excalibur Mjolnir.
That
slash
reminds me. Is the Transformers King Arthur film on the docket?
Raptor. I'm sorry. Raptor, you don't want to know about the Fates version of Arthur.
You were saying Valerian?
I was asking whether the Transformers King Arthur film is on the docket.
No.
No.
well, that was definitive.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow,
We've
you're not
we've
going to
already
torture us?
done
That's nice. Good God.
We've already done that.
A rare
Oh, that's the
moment
only
of,
reason. We've already
a
watched
rare
it.
moment of
since then.
mercy.
We
I mean, we already did that. Doesn't usually stop you, Bright Lord.
That is true. You did do Rise of Skywalker twice.
Wait,
I mean,
why?
because because I wanted to have a discussion with people who hadn't seen it yet. And also I wanted to complete the hat trick.
And he repeats the same joke like 2,001 trillion times.
But that's because he thinks he's funny. Haven't you caught up?
No, I kind of missed on that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't.
fair
No. I don't understand. Apparently, I'm 6 years old.
Yes.
You're a
Yeah.
good company, Ninja. You could hang with Dunn and be.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't
So-
know what's happening. I'm sorry.
No,
I
do
don't either anymore.
Yeah. But Gingerbread King Arthur.
Yeah, that's essentially
God.
what fate
Oh.
is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
and it's worse. It's worse. They have Gingerbread Mordred, and they actually and Saber is her father.
Would it be
That's so
Mother?
weird.
No, her father.
Is this
Okay,
like
then.
some anime thing?
They explain it. You can probably guess how.
Codex died. I think Fate's actually a video game.
It's an anime. It's a video game. It's a whole media.
It's a
thing.
franchise. It
Oh,
it was
wow.
originally a hentai game.
Oh,
Was it?
That at least the original visual novel had more explicit scenes available, and it had a world building mechanic about how to recharge mana. That is
All right.
this
look.
is
I
not-
know
This is
stuff.
not.
I'm
This
telling
is,
you, it's curse. Okay.
this is not. This is not content a 6-year-old should be exposed to.
No. Bro, if ancient aliens. That was a joke. Yes, it was obviously a joke. We know. We know. We just, already talked about Transformers 5. It's not even a
Yeah,
King
yeah,
Arthur
but-
movie.
yeah, but
it's
Dun, you
basically
will
just
take-
a national treasure. It's
Here's
just
the thing.
National Treasure King Arthur. That's
Here's the
it.
thing, done. Here's the thing, done. You will take someone making a joke and go, "Ooh, that's a good idea." So we have to be really explicit, okay?
Okay, on my honor, I promise that we will not watch Transformers the last night.
Good.
That would mean
Okay.
something if you had honor.
I haven't broken my word to any of you guys.
I'm not so sure.
I'm not either. Like, I agree with Valerian. I'm not so sure.
I think the jury needs a moment to go and review the evidence.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we had 2 seconds to review the evidence, say no, and toss them in the clinker. Oh no, no, Alexander Chuck. We derail on our own without any help. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're good at that.
Yeah, but the plot is they're trying to find Excalibur after it got stolen by a strangely well-mannered griffin. This is actually a joke
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I
where,
forgot about him.
did you hear me? Sorry, master, my mouth was full. Typical. Of all the evil creatures in this world, I happen to find the one with table manners.
Yeah. I
All
mean,
right, there were some good lines, I have to
It-
admit.
I like that they kind of just created they managed to create character moments for him as a bad guy with that. It was, it was good in that way.
He's
You know,
arguably
because
the best thing in the movie.
oh yeah, every time we cut to him, I was like, finally, something that makes sense. Sort of, not really. To be fair, that beginning scene where he decides to turn evil spontaneously. That's fun. That was interesting. Not very sense making, but after that,
Oh, was that the bit where the lady dissed him and he turned evil, or
huh?
the lady dissed him and he turned evil?
Lady? No.
Yeah.
When he's at the round table and he just decides to kill Arthur. And it's like, okay.
No. He had a reason. He wanted more land, and they weren't going to give it to him.
Oh yeah, he wanted land. They said maybe not. Maybe we should no. This is, and he just got a bit mental and decided to try to kill Arthur with a shield. And it was like,
No,
alright.
it was a mace at first, like a flail, but he lost that and then went at him with a shield.
He was like, dude, I think we just need to have a quiet discussion. No, okay, you're gonna try and kill him. Oh, okay. And now you're having a whole. You turned into like a barbarian warlord. All right.
Yeah, with bright red villain armor that looks both badass and kind of silly.
Like, you would think in cartoon world you would figure out how to like identify evil designs instantly, because like, you know, from the moment you're born you have a face of a hero character or the face of a villain character. Come on.
That
Your
is
face is full
true.
of blocks and weird rectangles. You've got no hope.
Yeah. But essentially, there's the daughter of the the only guy that Ruber kills is coincidentally the main character's dad. And the main character is kind of lame, to be perfectly honest. She's. I love the phrase that Nostalgia Critic uses, and very rarely do I actually cite Nostalgia Critic as actually saying something insightful, because Doug Walker is unfortunately mostly dumb and it's weird takes. But this one I agree with in terms of she's kind of a dumbass in distress. She thinks she's more competent than she actually is, and is mostly incompetent and has to be saved constantly, kind of like Robin or Scrappy Doo.
Well, there's a funny thing as well, because like, I mean, her design is clearly a Belle ripoff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because she's what the edgy teenage fanfiction writer thinks of when they're trying to write a Belle character but end up writing like going off the rails, you know? Like, you know, Belle wants to get out of her small town. She wants independence, but she's not like she's not like a random wayward you know, like she has specific things that she will and won't deal with. She won't just go for any adventure. You know, she wants an adventure, then gets hit in the face with one she probably doesn't want, you know, and has boundaries and shit, you know. And what's her name? Is it Kaylee? Yeah.
Yeah.
Kaylee just like fucking. I mean, yeah, okay. She's technically on the way to save her mom and save the world and stuff, but it's very fucking vague, and it's just like, look at me, tomboy. Look at me, I wear trousers.
Yeah, just find Excalibur after it's been stolen by a griffin that gets its butt kicked by a falcon. That's
and then she meets
its size.
And then she meets this blind guy in the forest, and is just like, "Yeah, I'll hang with him. He seems like he's not a threat." And it's like, woman, you are in a dangerous forest. Maybe be a bit skeptical about meeting a random guy in a forest. Just saying. I know he's blind, but he's pretty capable.
Well,
as unrealistic as that may be, like, maybe don't automatically assume he's not going to kill you, considering your situation, right? Don't just be irritated that he doesn't want to fall into your arms yet, like, because that's all she's thinking. She's just like, oh, I like him. And it's like, woman, you probably have more priorities right here.
Yeah,
you know?
give it some time. Give it more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, like,
I was thinking with it, it's basically, oh, he seems handy. He seems to be able to kick the butt of these giant mech guys without very much difficulty, even though he's blind.
I mean,
I'm
he
like-
has to at least wait for the chap to sing the song.
Yeah.
I can see you going, oh yeah, that person seems handy, but you have to be. There's no level of skepticism in this girl at all.
No.
Like, at all. It's just like, yeah, stranger. Yeah, look, you can come with me on my. You're coming with me on my quest. And it's like, okay, okay, girl. I get that she's, you know, naive. Get that she's naive and like, you know, doesn't know much about the world. But I don't know. She just kind of acts like a moron rather than just a naive person.
Yeah.
Naive person would be scared because they wouldn't know how to see threat or not threat.
Yeah. Essentially, after this, there's just kind of a series of misadventures where they're just racing to get Excalibur, and then somehow they decide to split the party, and she gets abruptly captured immediately because
Yeah,
Ruber
he
somehow got
stays
ahead of them.
behind for whatever reason, saying he doesn't belong in the world of men. But the scary fucking Fey Forest, yeah, sure, he belongs there.
He belongs in the fucking forest that's trying to kill you. It's like a ripoff from Princess Bride. It's
Or
like,
Fern Gully.
okay.
It's a mix of Princess Bride and Fern Gully.
Rodents of unusual sizes. They don't
Nothing-
exist.
Nothing says home like a deadly forest that's trying to kill you.
I do. It's like I've always said that's exactly where I want to live when I grow up.
You have to
That's
be
another
blind
one.
to live in that environment. Oh wait.
Yeah.
So you know, come on,
then-
Tarek. That's where we're building our house.
In the fucking Feywild, yeah, right. I'll never be able to sell that.
Hey, yeah, but buying it will be easy.
That is true.
It's a good one way to get on the property ladder.
Well, it makes sense. You're the size of an NBA linebacker. You'd probably be able to take on any of the dragons that threaten your lady pretty easily.
I mean, you know, it'd be a full-time job, so
It
Yeah,
would
the
literally
accountant
be a full-time job.
I'm sure there's some like nice berries to make good stews from, though. I'll make you nice dinner.
If it's Fey berries, most of them are probably poisonous.
Nothing,
Oh,
nothing says home like a succulent, undulating environment.
Help me. Help.
You're not the only one suffering here.
Slow going. I don't mean to be rude. Excellent quote. One of the greatest movies ever. I love that. So then Rupert gets hold of Excalibur, and they basically have a bit of a neat setup and payoff. It's very much Deus Ex Machina, where what he does is he actually grafts Excalibur onto his arm and makes himself into a cyborg. I'm not joking. He just drips a bit of magic potion on his arm while he's holding Excalibur and now he has a sword arm.
Yeah, he randomly has bizarre powers whenever it's necessary for the plot.
And I mean, you know,
Raptor.
what's the Brandon Sanderson rule of magic where like if you're gonna have a Deus Ex Machina, give it to the villain, or ridiculous powers or whatever.
It's technically not. It's actually technically fine because he used the same magic potion to make his mechanical army. They just dropped into. He just used a drop on his arm rather than dumping it into a well and having them jump in. So I don't think that's a Deus Ex Machina on his arm. The Deus Ex Machina I'm thinking of is when Haley and Garrett jump out of the way in front of the stone that Excalibur came out of. Ruber drives the sword into the stone, and then there's a magic Kamehameha explosion where all of Ruber's barbarian guys, are turned from mechanical soldiers to guys in loincloths, and he's just disintegrated.
I completely forgot that bit.
Well, that's the funny thing, because the blind guy doesn't get healed as well.
Nope, he doesn't.
Yeah.
And strangely enough, the dragons have the arc of they figure out if they can agree on something, they can
Do
make
dragon things.
Yeah, they can fly now, and they can use fire breath. And
Like,
How inspiring.
and the magic splits them apart, but then they decide to merge back together, and just by hugging while the magic is still going on, they just are fine. And King Arthur's injury is immediately okay after he got injured.
they're
knighted.
I just want to know why. Look, you can love your brother all you want, but would you really, really, in any circumstance, want to be attached for him for to eternity? If you were a Siamese twin and you had the opportunity to just both be like completely like ordinarily bodied humans, like by magic, two entities and not be attached to each other, like, you know, no injuries, no lacking limbs, just that. On what planet wouldn't you take that, just to be able to have some privacy from your insane, annoying brother? You can get along, you can have a good relationship, but my god, I hate that. I hated that. I was like, look, no, you don't have to be attached to each other to get along, you stupid, annoying dragons.
Sorry, Thorn again.
Oh,
Oh,
And Actua
fuck off.
says, when humans
There
agree,
we
they
go.
can walk with legs. Wow.
okay. All right. Okay, who wants to be a mod?
I mean, hang on.
You can make me one if you want. I'm not in the chat, so
How-
that would take too long.
I've reported the bot, but, you know.
What?
Okay.
What? Oh, there's a bot in chat.
Okay. 1 second. I'm gonna go right. I'm gonna go in. I'm gonna kill it. Okay. Get out. Oh, Raptor in the top hat. Thank you. Okay, Raptor's a mod. Okay, cool.
Yeah, Raptor's on it. Raptor's doing well.
Yeah, Raptor's doing a good job.
I was just trying to see if there was anything beyond that I could do.
Nice. Yeah. Okay. But after we have the but that's pretty much it for Quest for Camelot. It's just kind of a neat little waste of time. It's pretty quick. The only characters that have an arc are the dragons. Everybody else is pretty static. Even the main character. The only thing that happens is she just gets her wish and becomes a knight.
Yeah.
Gets kidnapped a lot as well.
Yeah.
Apparently, being a King Arthur's knight is to be kidnapped a lot. Wait, that is actually true for a lot of King Arthur stories.
Yeah.
Okay. What was I gonna say? When Merlin finally turns up at the end, after being totally useless, and then they
Yeah, all he does
get knighted, and they go off on their little carriage with just knighted up at the back of it. It's so cute.
It's actually worse. It's not even on a carriage. It's tied to the back of a horse.
I have a horse.
So
Yeah.
that horse is miserable.
Well, yeah, it has a nail in its ass.
Yeah. But now we get to the best King Arthur movie that we watched so far. It might actually be my favorite King Arthur movie. Since
All right.
this one is very, very different from the other ones. It's kind of the extreme. So it's kind of like we're going to get two extremes in the near future, where we've had the two fantasy versions of King Arthur. This is the non-fantasy version of King Arthur, and then with First Night we kind of get a mix of. It's kind of in between those, I guess.
Pick and choose.
Yeah.
It is an odd movie to exist. Like, I don't know why I don't know why they just decided let's make a pseudo-realistic Arthurian movie.
I would definitely want to learn more about why this movie came to be, because I remember really enjoying it as a kid when I watched it, and then watching it recently. It is so surprising how much this film holds up.
yeah, it does hold up pretty well.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But like, that's the thing. It's like a historical drama, I'd argue, and that's just about it. It's a historical drama with the biggest draw to it being that it's just the King Arthur story, but it's not like any other King Arthur story. It's weird.
And to me, I think that's cool. That gives this film a unique identity compared to other King Arthur movies. It's like, hey, we're gonna just do the King Arthur story where it's like, it's clearly King Arthur, it's clearly the mythology, and then this film came along and was like, why don't we just do uber realistic and actually try to be historical?
Yep, with a
Yeah,
lot of
sure.
anachronisms.
Yeah,
Which is
yeah,
fascinating.
granted, this is 2000s where attention to detail in Hollywood movies when it comes to history
Aesthetics.
stuff was a lot worse. Like, it was a lot worse.
Yeah. But let's kind of talk about the story. Basically, they've figured out ways to. They actually did a lot of historical research in terms of timelines and stuff, where they
Mhm.
knew about a group of Sarmatianites and a centurion named Lucius Artorius Castus, and put them together in the film and made them King Arthur and his knights.
Oh, that's actually a thing?
Yeah, there was a group of Sarmatian knights that were stationed in Britain as auxiliaries.
Huh.
And, like, Sarmatians was exactly what the film where they were just mercenaries taken from villages across Europe.
Across a specific country called Sarmatia, but yes. Because
Okay,
of their horsemanship.
that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, at least I believe. Sarmatian knights in Britain. So apparently they were. So originally there were a confederation of Iranian peoples who originally occupied Sarmatia, region north of the Black Sea, but gradually migrated westward toward Rome. They were mainly cavalry warriors, and in 175, Marcus Aurelius stationed 5,500 Sarmatians in Britain.
Okay. That is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That adds more points for me on this movie. It's like, oh, this movie actually, while it did not go detail in terms of armor and look, but though I will actually correct myself, during the commentary, I mentioned about the Arthurian helmet. That was actually a thing for late Romans to have.
Oh.
Arthur's helmet is actually a helmet for that period.
Nice. So, and they basically just have them as a boy band, as a traveling
They do.
traveling fighting boy band.
The bros.
Yeah, you got, and I like to describe it as James Bond on ripoff from Pink Panthers leading a team with Mr. Fantastic, the Punisher, Beowulf / Mr. Beaver, Hannibal Lecter, Prince Char from Ella Enchanted, and Owen Lars, if I haven't mentioned them already.
Elizabeth as the main.
Hey, they
main-
really do. They really do fit the boy band thing. Most of them are pretty boys, and then a couple of them, like one of them, looks like he really, really wanted to be in a rock band, just didn't have rock friends, and then you got a good old, all right, mate, Mr. Beaver, who's just like
Kill the bots.
Look, he was just the one who knew how to play guitar, and they just needed one. And he's not the look of it, but he doesn't go at the front of the cover, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's very much. It's also kind of insane at how much big name actors are in this movie.
The
Yeah.
neat thing
Mm.
that I saw was the Giles, one of the attendants. It was actually with Ian Griffith, the guy playing Lancelot on Hornblower, the British TV show about this naval officer. I just thought that was neat. But they are tasked with a rescue mission of this young man whose dad is Ken Scott, Balin from the Hobbit movies.
Oh, wait, Balin?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Remember
did you know?
the chubby
I
guy?
didn't
watched it.
recognize him. Okay, I didn't recognize.
Yeah,
Well,
but
'cause
John
I was
said it
short.
when we were watching it, you dim.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah, you're probably screaming over it, to be fair.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
As a side note, sorry, I just
go
note
for it.
on the poster, I like how Keira Knightley's right in the fucking center, and you can't actually tell which one is Lancelot and which one is Arthur.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
I mean, if you've
true,
seen it, you know, but like,
Yeah.
they have the same villain.
Well, the funny thing is, he has Arthur over him right there and Lancelot over there.
Yeah. Instead of the
Oh
actors'
my.
names, that usually happens.
And they
Oh, I just
decide-
noticed that actually. Oh my god. But like, why is she in the center? If you're not reading the pictures, you're just like, wait, she's
You
not
know
King
why.
Arthur. She's not King Arthur.
because of
When look at Guinevere.
Yeah, but
can
the
see
movie,
why.
the movie is not called Guinevere. It's called King
I-
Arthur. It's not.
No,
It's
no.
not called The Legend of the Lake
Look at
or
what
something.
she's dressing. Look
Yeah,
at her
but-
dress.
But they shouldn't have called it King Arthur then, because otherwise you have to put King Arthur at the front of King Arthur.
and the funny thing, they actually they actually artificially photoshopped her bust.
Yeah, I was gonna say she doesn't have tits, so. Like, there is a reason why she acts in like historical dramas and stuff. It's because when you wear a corset, it makes you look like you have tits. There we go.
Thanks.
And also, I think that she said something about if she didn't at least have a certain bust size, the film wouldn't have sold.
Wow.
Poor
At
Kira.
least I
Look,
believe- yeah.
like all the padding in Pirates of the Caribbean, in her you know, in what was it, Anna Karenina, in all of her Jane Austen stuff, like they do her a lot of favors, and people think that she's got more going on there than she does. Bless her heart, love her, love Kira.
Bless her tits. She doesn't have any.
Yeah,
But I would
bless
say
the area
this-
where her cart is, their tits
Oh.
should be.
We lost the bard. But I would
Oh,
say
no.
this. I would say this. Like Keira Knightley, she is a beautiful woman, even with that deficiency.
She's drop dead gorgeous. I just
Yeah.
like having one thing over her.
Oh. Thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, and we then get to the reason why they want to rescue the Pope wants this kid rescued is because the Saxons are coming, and the Saxons in this are very Viking-esque,
Yeah, they are.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
but
I think they took a little bit too much descriptions of them. They like, oh, the Anglo-Saxons and the Vikings looks very similar. Let's just make them Vikings.
yeah, and they come in and actually it's a pretty dang good villain.
Oh yeah,
Introduction where he says you don't get to rape these people, and he kills his man for raping a girl, but then he kills the girl
Yeah,
too.
just outright murders her because he does.
Yeah.
Well, it's because of their dirty blood.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
want
and,
to sullying our blood.
And also, what's so cool about it is that a cool element of visual storytelling. Every time we see the Saxon, a place gets burned down. First time, it's just this random village that you don't care about. But then the next time you see him, it was the place that our heroes just left.
Yep.
Well, it was still a place I didn't care about.
Well, it's a little bit of like a cool familiarity. Is they're literally gonna burn everything.
And the shot composition on the burning of that one town was really good as well. Where it's just visually striking. There's a lot of visually striking stuff in this film. I'm really sad that this didn't do better because I would have liked more movies like this.
Well, it went
would
up
be
against
bad,
like
but,
Spider-Man 2 and I think a Bond movie. It never stood a chance.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah, it was doomed to fail pretty much. Oh, I found it. 2006 Keira Knightley said it is not allowed to be on a magazine and cover in the U.S. without at least a C cup up because it turns people off.
Wow.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah,
That's
mean.
a little bit. So Spider-Man 2 and Anchorman and 2.
Oh, it's Anchorman was the other one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder if this film would have been better if it was rated R. Would it actually improve the movie?
It seems like it's fine enough as it is.
Yeah. I'm saying would it make it better because so the thing about in terms of marketing, like I wonder whether if
Centurion Centurion was rated R and that did reasonably well. But I think it was lower budget than this. Most Swords and Sandals films are rated R, like Gladiator's rated R, for example. Oh, actually, no. Centurion did not do well.
Okay.
It had a budget of 12 million and its box office was 6.9 million.
Ouch.
Ooh. At least this one had the impression of making back the initial cost, but not the marketing.
Yeah. Excalibur was rated R, so it could work. I don't think the theatrical run of Excalibur was rated R, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
keep going.
Yeah, it's just like I think to answer how does this film work as a movie? Very simple. It's focused. It knows what it wants to do, and it does this spectacular. It gives us plenty of time to connect with most of the major characters in the movie, and it has like a very simple plot, and the arc of Arthur is simple but effective. And of course, you have the effective villains, and also the battles were interesting to realize. Once you know more about tactics, it looks cool in a visual sense, like casually. But once you learn about tactics, it's actually one of the better movies in terms of using military tactics in a film.
On the downside, all of the main characters have brown hair. Would that be confusing?
They all look the fucking same.
So come on, have some shades. Jesus Christ, you've just got rock guy and you've got beaver guy, and everyone else is brown.
Then you got Gwen, who's not brown hair.
Oh yeah, that was rock guy.
Okay.
That's in our boy band analogy. That's the guy who wanted to be in a rock band, but the world wasn't kind to him, and he didn't have any rock friends.
Yep. So we have, and a lot of really neat stuff before the final battle, where yeah, this film is awesome. I love this film.
Yeah.
I
It's a good
actually
movie.
would, yeah, I really would love. I would even just like to watch it again. But the cool thing actually, they go to the place where Ken Scott is basically just this lord of a fief, and he has apparently been imprisoning heretics in this little underground dungeon. One of them being Guinevere, the other being a small boy, and they bring him out, and he actually, and Arthur decides to threaten Marius and says, "You're done. You're not a messenger. You're not a spokesperson for God. All these people are free." Well, because Guinevere is a woad. That's the reason why. Because instead of having her be, she's one of the picks, essentially. They just call them woads in this. And
I actually like that detail where they don't give him like what we call them nowadays. They gave him like a different term. It helps. It helps to make it feel like it's an older time.
Mhm.
Well, it gives it its own context. Like you have to kind of, you know.
So, I have seen the director's cut, but we watched the original cut. Let me actually check what the differences are. Like, a lot of it is yeah, let me see. So the director's cut, basically a lot of extra battle scenes, as well as a few more scenes between Lancelot and Guinevere. One where the knights sit around a campfire asking about their intended Armation life. Oh, that's still in the film. Okay, so I think we did watch the director's cut. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we did watch the director's cut. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, I really like the director's cut quite a bit. The director's cut's really neat. So after they try to run, but they find a lake, and it's frozen, so they decide to use that to their advantage, which is actually really, really clever. I like that bit.
Yeah, and I like it how like when the caravan was walking, they noticed, oh, this is kind of loose. We have to be careful. And then it's like, oh, we have to deal with this. Oh, we know what to do.
Yep. So what they decide to do is use recurve bows that have significantly longer range than the enemy bows to try and make them cluster and fall in. However, it comes at a cost because Dagonet, Ray Stevenson, or Porthos from the Three Musketeers movie from 2011, 2013, uses an axe to break the ice. When they figure out, okay, this isn't working, we need to figure out something different. And so that's what they do. And he ends up getting several crossbow bolts to the chest and dies. There is a bit of a scene where Marius tries to take the kid hostage and Guinevere shoots him. But before that, there's a scene where Arthur has to put her fingers back in place. And they don't show anything. They just, you hear the pops.
You hear the snap, yeah.
Yeah. And her scream and her crying out in pain, which is actually really, 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 really bad. And like her scream is like really makes you feel like, ow, that hurts. Yeah, I think that if they did it, they would. I think definitely they would have had a better time in theaters.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know, because it felt like a film that was acting like its own age range. I don't know.
It felt like a movie of the time.
Yeah, it didn't. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like it was like holding. It didn't feel like you know how in I mean, this is an extreme example, but you know the Scooby Doo movie where like you can tell it was supposed to be like an like R-rated Scooby Doo, and then they cut out all of the R-rated stuff, so it's like
Yeah.
the tone
Yeah,
doesn't
right.
feel right for the rating, right? Didn't feel like
we
that.
didn't watch- Actually, we did not watch the.
Director's
Actually, we. So Amazon does not have the director's cut. Watch the version. I have seen the director's shoot. Yeah. The Wikipedia, I guess, is very slightly weird about the how the scenes that were deleted, since most of them seem to be in the scenes that we had, but well, c'est la vie. It's rough. But even then, I still really like this film, and I wish that could have been done better. R-rated Scooby-Doo.
Oh.
That-
James
that will
Gunn's
be something.
Scooby-Doo. James Gunn's
Okay.
Scooby-Doo was
Oh,
supposed to be
yeah.
R-rated.
Yeah.
I had to do a quick task, quick errand, and I just came back to R-rated Scooby-Doo. What?
Oh, just in terms of like things feeling like they are at the rating that they should be, like a movie. You know, I just use that as an extreme example, but like when you watch James Gunn's Scooby-Doo, you can fucking tell that was supposed to be a much higher rating than it was because of like the tone of the story, even though obviously none of the content is in there. You know what I mean? Like that movie, you can tell it was supposed to not be a kids movie. It was just had all of the content taken out, you know. And this movie doesn't really have that to me. It's maybe pushing out a little bit might have helped, but I don't think there's any inconsistency.
Yeah, the only
It's
thing
actually-
it was the part about at the beginning, the introductory villain scene was a bit odd, where it's like, oh, this is just. It's enough to tell for adults to know what's happening, but it's not too over the top.
It's just part and parcel of living in the city.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently it was, I think it probably would have been better if it had, yeah. All right, Velma. Yeah. But after that, we have the final battle, where King Arthur finally makes peace with the Woads after he finds out that his foster dad and mentor Pelagius was executed, and finds out, oh, the Rome I knew is a lie. So
They're not helping, and it also didn't help that it like this whole adventure, they lost one of their men,
one of their brothers.
One of their brothers.
essentially.
That was like
Yeah.
the last straw.
And they just like, we're done. And even then, they could leave before the Saxons come, but they decide, no, we're gonna fight.
We're gonna
That's
be with our.
pretty badass.
Yeah, it was the moment where it's like at first you think they're gonna leave, but then they come back because they're bros.
Yep. And they put on this pretty badass looking armor. It's kind of a weird assortment. You have Mongolian armor. You have
Roman legionary or something.
Roman legionary. You have Hunnic. The only way I can describe Lancelot's armor is as Hunnic armor. I don't know how to describe Gawain's armor as the male version of Sorsha's armor from Willow, because that's what it reminds me of.
Mm.
Only Arthur is consistent. He's Roman.
It is such
Yeah,
a bizarre
so-
like mashup of different
Yes.
like weaponry and armors and shit.
I wonder if that's because of budget.
Yeah, like take a look at that. Like that looks. Take a look at that, and then, so this is the closest. No, please let this work. Please let it work. Please let it work.
Please load. Please
I
load.
don't know what is going on here. So, doesn't that look the same? Maybe it's. Does that look similar?
I'm
Yeah.
gonna.
Oh, here we are,
Crazy.
Okay, now I got it. Yeah,
So you
sort
got
of.
This, and you go here. Yeah, I can't really think of any comparison. It kind of looks. I can't really think of. I can't really think of any historical comparisons. It looks more Middle Eastern, I suppose. I would like to see the behind the scenes commentary for each of the armor designs. I have no
Yeah, that
idea
would
what
be-
Force's armor is.
Yeah, I wonder if this is a case of budget. Like they couldn't get enough
Yeah.
money.
Possibly, but I also wonder that they wanted that their
Mhm.
main characters to look unique in battle
Yeah.
scenes.
Probably, yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and it's
that
a
may be
good
the
way of
reason.
doing it without doing. Although you can do the cliche take the helmet off scene, you know, but a lot of the time you can't do the cliche take the helmet off scene, so might as well make them distinctive enough that you can follow the action. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, like actually in the final battle, only only Lancelot had his helmet taken off?
I kind of want to see.
Which, you know, character-wise, hey, Lancelot.
Yeah, I think he got his
Ought to be,
helmet
like,
knocked
a
off
little
at
bit
one point, though.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But even so, it's like, hey, look, me, pretty boy.
Mm.
But yeah,
Hmm.
like the armor, I would say, even though it's historically inaccurate, the armor looks functional. It looks good.
It still looks pretty cool. Yeah.
Like, yeah, that one looks like I would definitely wear that piece of armor in battle.
Yeah.
Like, there's not like one piece of armor. It's like, well, other than the woads. But then again, the woads were they were doing the Celtic armor.
Mm.
Yeah. That is actually a good point. Yeah, a lot of the actors, like Stephen Delane was Stannis Baratheon was Merlin in this. I'd almost forgotten.
Merlin the Manus.
Yep. And that's cool. I think that was actually part of the marketing was trying to go off of the kind of trying to tap into Ridley Scott type stuff, but unfortunately it didn't do very well. The final battle itself is really cool. They did a lot of smart things with that battle where they actually had some initial smart tactics where the bad guy actually meets up with Arthur under a flag of truce and talks with him and says, and at the end he says, "A man worth killing." And it's just like, I kind of miss that kind of villain hero type interaction.
The main villain for this movie is essentially the Predator.
Yeah, and it's cool that it's Bootstrap Bill and Eric Selvig playing this raspy voiced Viking.
It
He's
is
actually
me.
really competent.
Yeah.
He's super competent, which is awesome.
Yeah,
And-
again, like, oh my goodness, everyone was super competent. And it's like, it felt like, yeah, the heroes won because they just, it's not like they won because of luck or like the villains are idiots or anything. Everyone was competent. It's just that one side either had to like in case of like the ice battle, it was because of one heroic sacrifice.
Mhm.
And then in the final battle, Arthur just won by killing the leader.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's also a neat moment right before the battle where throughout the movie they've been yelling "Roos" as their battle cry, and Arthur never joins in until the very end, where Bors draws his sword and yells, "Artorias, Roos!" And Arthur lets his horse rear up and raises his standard and yells "Roos" back, and it's kind of almost a conclusion of an arc where he's like, "Yeah, I'm one of you guys. I'm not a Roman anymore. I'm just one of you guys," which is cool.
I'm not your commander. I'm your bro.
Yep.
Feels to me like Arthur got out on the ground floor. You know what I mean? He got out right before shit. Rome was going to completely collapse. Perfect timing.
Yeah. And the battle itself is really smart. Where he actually sent the bad guy sends out a scout force. Say, okay, what's going on? Let's see what happens. So he sends out a small portion of his troops. Then when the doors close behind him. It's actually there are like stages in the battle where they deliberately open up Hadrian's Wall to the Saxons to let them through, but they close it right behind the first group. And what they do is they have their woad archers shoot the bad guys.
And also ignite the battlefield, all the pits in the battlefield with fire.
Yeah, and
As well.
have created a lot of smoke in the area to obscure their numbers and their troop movements.
And
So-
it's all to cover the cavalry charges.
Yeah, where they might have 7 guys, but because of the bad visibility and the arrow fire, they don't know what's coming at them, so they smash through them. And even at points, they smash through the shields.
Yeah, and what's so cool is that it showcases that even when they're trying to do their shield wall, which would normally be a good defense against cavalry, then the archers hit them right where they're undefended.
Yeah, like when they actually turn around when they turn around to try and protect against the knights, they get shot from behind again, and they just get picked off, and then the rest of the army comes in. But the smart thing that they did was they had filled at least a ditch with pitch, and they split the army in half so that they can deal with one half then the other. It's really smart.
And that's when the trebuchets comes in.
Yeah.
Like, this is on the confused part that I was initially confused, and I kind of if this was the intention of the writers, it's actually really clever because so they brought in catapults, right? Which is historically horrible artillery for this type of situation. They're only good against walls, but it looked like they were actually igniting other pits that were in front of one of the lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. As well as one of the trenches. And the use of fire arrows was also pretty smart too. The one thing about fire arrows, I've actually seen fire arrows tested. The only damage they do is kind of maybe a 2nd degree burn around the wound.
Well, I mean, that's going to cripple some people.
Probably, yeah. But it's,
Like
they're kind of
if you miss a joint or somewhere on the body and that arrow didn't hit home, that second degree burn is going to kind of make sure you can't use that limb.
Yeah, it's like only a second degree burn. You know,
Yeah.
that's. I mean, yeah, third degree means gonna die in the next 2 days, but like, you know, second degree means bad enough that it fucking hurts,
Yeah.
and you're either not
You're
gonna be
bleeding.
Yeah, and it's at the very least gonna make fighting more difficult. You're not gonna be as mobile. It's gonna cripple you a little bit. Like,
Mm.
it's not a first degree burn,
Mhm.
which is when it's just like ouchie.
So oh, interesting. Okay, never mind. Wasn't what I thought it was. Okay, but after that we have have a few confrontations. We have Lancelot taking on the son of the Viking, like
Well,
the Viking.
actually, the
chief,
order is
Saxon.
actually the order was actually Guinevere versus a third-rate general who was like a sub commander, and Guinevere and a bunch of other ladies took him down, which was also another awesome moment. It's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, they garroted him.
Yeah,
Yeah, they garroted
it's so
him.
cool. They acknowledged that that a bunch of women getting up and one dude could take him down.
Yeah, and that was pretty awesome.
Instead of doing the normal, oh, I'm strong. And then Guinevere fights the sun dude, like who has been like the recurring antagonist to our group.
And she actually is losing. And Lancelot has to make a choice between Guinevere and Arthur, and he chooses to go after Guinevere. And
he wins, but after a cheap shot.
Yeah, he gets cheap shot by a crossbow, so he throws his sword at the guy and gets him right in the chest.
And it actually spun. And it actually spun, not like, yee!
Yeah. Like, yeah. And then Tristan, played by Hannibal Lecter himself, Mads Mikkelsen, / there's a bunch of, there's at least there's a couple of people who would be in the Three Musketeers, Paul W.S. Anderson, Mila Jovovich, Three Musketeers movie in this, with Ray Winstone and Mads Mikkelsen, where Mads Mikkelsen played Rochefort. And then Tristan gets killed, fights the Saxon chieftain and loses. And then Arthur and the chieftain fight. But It looks like Arthur's about to lose, but it's a ruse, and he stabs the guy while he's about to kill him. And that ends the battle. Once that is finished, they bury the knights. Though they burn Lancelot's corpse since he requested them to burn his body. And then Arthur is crowned King of Britain. And
even though I will say there is a loophole. Their mission was already. Lancelot said burn him if the mission was not done. And they did it. Arthur just did it just to honor his friend's request, which was cool.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that it's don't bury me in our poor old cemetery. And that's pretty much it for these three movies. It's kind of weird to compare all of these films together because they're very different.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, one of them barely has the Arthurian characters in it, so it almost doesn't count. Like, Quest for Camelot is set in the Camelot world, but it ain't the same. It's not even the same ballpark. Like, at least
it's
like
in the
Merlin...
right zip code.
Yeah.
Wrong math.
Like Merlin's following somewhat fairly traditional lines of the Arthur story with some random shit sprinkled in there.
It just passes over really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then like King Arthur is doing the historical thing, but it isn't really. But to the point
it's not really adapting the stories that. It's more of like talking about how would King Arthur, like the legend begins type story, where who
Like,
is this figure
It's a
that
film.
inspires?
It sounds like it's a film about one particular theory about how Arthur started.
And
Yeah.
it touches on a few of the elements of the legend. Like it touches on the Lancelot Guinevere thing. You know, there's hints at the characters being themselves that end up in their own legends and stuff, but it's not like that isn't the center, and it isn't the story of the end of Arthur. It's the story of the beginning of Arthur. So it's not your traditional Arthur film in that sense. So, you know, it's actually kind of weird in that way. It's like, wow, it's kind of unique, you know, because like there's like the Arthur dies at the end. That's like always the end of the story. So it's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, it's not like it seems like most other Arthur films. It's either just like we're going to adapt a specific tale of King Arthur, or we're just going to just do his whole life story, and doing a lot of condensing of familiar stories, or you just do what Monty Python did and just make a comedy out of it.
Or you do what BBC Merlin did and have a heck of a lot of time to just do all of it. Or a lot of it.
Yep.
Like a good chunk of it. And it starts with the very beginning of Arthur. Well, not when he was born. We talk about his backstory, but he's a baby. No. But we get young Arthur all the way to Arthur's death. Spoilers. In BBC Merlin. So like, but because it's like 5 seasons long, you know, you got that in time. But yeah, in terms of movies, you know, you have to condense it to do that.
I've still never seen Sir Palamedes in a visual medium yet.
Okay, so maybe we could do another stream of like stories of King Arthur I want to see adapted, and really Sir Tristram's story I want to see it adapted.
Oh, it has been adapted.
No. Well, here's the thing. It's because Sir Palamedes is so tied to Tristram's story. It's like,
so I think there is an adaptation of Tristan and Isolde.
There are several.
There is. Yeah, there's a 2006 one with James Franco as Tristan and Henry Cavill as Melot. James Franco plays Tristan.
I genuinely thought you were going to say Henry Cavill as Isolde. I was like, what?
No, Sophia Miles is Isolde.
No, in my head, Henry Cavill is Isolde.
Is Palamedes in there?
No, he is not in there.
I must confess that for whatever reason, Tristan never grabbed me, for whatever reason.
Well, because Tristan was just...
Lancelot. It's a Lancelot Guinevere ripoff with a different ending.
Actually, that's not quite how it went. Tristan and Isolde actually came first. So Guinevere and Lancelot is the ripoff, but it's a successful ripoff.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because it actually, you know, engages you. For some reason, Tristan and Isolde never engaged me. I'm not sure why.
I think part of it is the magic potion angle is kind of weird.
And also,
there is a weirdness to the story where Isolde knows that they're doomed for the romance, but she still goes for it. And instead of Lancelot and Guinevere becoming a nun and a monk, the lovers die.
Well, also like the big thing with okay, so Lancelot and Guinevere works because Guinevere is the wife of the main character, and it's not just a story of tragic lovers. It is, but it's directly embedded in the main story of Arthur, right? That is obviously his wife cheating on him with his best mate. It's a little bit of a major plot point in his life, and is very, very easy to influence other plot lines that you've got going on whenever you adapt Arthur.
And some
Right?
of it specifically for us is, I think a lot of us probably get our Arthurian legend from the Once and Future King, or from things that are more or less based on that by T.H. White. And in that, the emphasis is all on Lancelot, Guinevere, and Arthur, and Tristan gets barely mentioned, like in like the one brief paragraph or something.
Yeah, it's like,
The one funny thing about The Once and Future King by T.H. White is that Lancelot's ugly. It's a defining part of his character that he's ugly.
huh.
I would also say another source, probably the main earliest source that is usually commonly used, is La Morte de Arthur.
Yeah, I mean, people either take it from Mallory or they take it from the Once and Future King, but the Once and Future King basically follows Mallory, apart from the Sword and Stone bit.
It's more of a, T.H. White is very much in a hyper refined 20th century British language in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's quite good.
And
but yeah,
most of the dialogue at least sounds like that. I do think that it's good, but most of them speak like they're in 19th century Britain, and as opposed to the ancient times, which is fine. I just think it's interesting. And it does feel pretty timeless, though, in a lot of ways. But I just think that it's an interesting point to make, that they all speak like they're in 20th century Britain.
yeah. I mean, he doesn't really have much to do with real history anyway.
Yeah, it's very anachronistic, especially in the dialogue. I think, yeah, the kind of one of the films basically is just kind of a focused origin. I think the worst one of the group arguably is Merlin 1995.
Yeah,
Because it's trying to condense a lot and is doing a lot with very, very limited time.
It is also
But it's
very
still
clunkily made.
it's trying to fit all the. Yeah, it's very, very cheap.
blink and you miss it.
Yeah.
Like, you could do cheap, but it's just clunky with it. It doesn't understand what its own budget is. Like, you can make a good movie on a low budget. You just need to understand what you can do. You need to be clever, and you need to be able to do basic editing. This movie didn't know how to do basic editing, so we had a problem.
I got a question. Does this film, does Merlin feel like it didn't have a good enough focus?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the pacing,
It didn't know what. The pacing was bizarre. The character focus was bizarre. Like, I cannot stress it enough. I said at the beginning, but Helena Bonham fucking Carter is playing Morgan Le Fay, and you ostracize her as a side character. Are you insane? Like, how? Why? What is wrong with you? Like,
Apparently, multiple things.
yeah, I can't. That was the most potential that this movie had. They didn't use it, and it really bothers me.
It is pretty frustrating since Helena Bonham Carter can play a really crazy witch very, very well.
She's amazing
All
at
right,
evil.
guys,
She's
I
amazing.
apologize. I gotta get going.
All right,
Okay.
sweet, bye.
See you guys later.
Have
All
a
right,
ride.
that's it.
Yeah, she's just a fantastic actress. But to be honest, I probably have to go to. I am exhausted. I
Okay,
have work
yeah.
tomorrow, so
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna.
Well,
call
we're
it quits
finished
today.
anyway.
That's
Well,
good.
We're
Yeah.
finished anyway. We're
Yeah.
finished anyway, so I think we'll probably end there. Basically, just kind of a comparison between a kiddie quest movie, a more gritty, realistic King Arthur meets Gladiator, and that's
Yeah, bye,
and
guys.
a weird, unfocused, long miniseries. But we'll call it good for today. There. Thank you all for coming. Well, I think the next series is probably going to be on Excalibur, First Knight, and Sword in the Stone, which those are going to be an interesting set of comparisons.
Yes.
Indeed.
Apples and
Yeah.
oranges.
Oh
Yeah.
my! I'm kind of scared for First Night and Excalibur.
This guy was alright.
It's all right. It's just got a lot of
Look! I'm traumatized from the Borman script.
Yeah, it's
That
going to be
is-
traumatic in that sense.
Admittedly, it's not as bad as that, to be fair. Admittedly.
It is. Yeah, it's not as bad. Nothing is as bad as the Borman script. The Borman
yeah.
script is one of the worst things written by man, apart from maybe the J.J. Abrams Superman script.
It's a masterpiece. You just don't have any taste.
Yeah, like how they
Nope,
made
I have no
treadmills.
taste. It all burned all the taste. It's burned all the taste out of my mouth because of how bizarre it was.
Treadmills, so open a gate and they put the treadmill outside of the gate in the courtyard, not on top of the gate.
Sauron is a combination of Mick Jagger and Punch.
Yes.
Saruman seduces Gandalf as a femme fatale. Or was it Sauron as a femme fatale? I don't even remember anymore.
It was
Everyone
Saruman.
marries
Do you
Eowyn
want to?
through weird healing ritual.
The
And-
bleep of the king is the bleep of the healer.
Yep.
Not to
Well-
be crude.
Well, we will call it good for today. We will continue this probably in a week or two. I know this week we're going to be having a Wheel of Time trivia night with Dane Bornhold, one of the biggest Wheel of Time fans I've ever met. Me and him are going to be either trying to stump each other, or we would love to have the chats try and stump us with Wheel of Time questions. So,
Next week I may be off.
cool. Okay. Thank you for letting me know, and remind me of that in our group, our private chat. That would be great.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, we will call it good for today. Adios, friends.
All right.
Bye.
Enough! Kill me! Just end it.
No.